Reveal and Mixer. We are so happy you're here. To go ahead and kick us off, it is my pleasure to introduce our CEO and co-founder, Ms. Rebecca Liao.
Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you, Alona. Can y'all hear me okay? Thank you so much for being here. I'm Rebecca Liao. I'm co-founder and CEO here at Saga. I'm sure you've met many of my lovely colleagues here today, but this is our Multiverse Reveal, and it is our last main event before we hit Mainnet. So a lot of you have been under the impression that Saga's been live this entire time. No, not yet actually. So we're hitting Mainnet very, very, very soon. So thank you so much for being here. Let me introduce you to Eve. This is Eve, the coming person, and I would love to take you inside their world. And it is in the name of people like them, our creators, our storytellers, our developers, and the crazies who dare to dream their craziest dreams that Saga gets to work. So let's remind ourselves what we're trying to accomplish here. Saga is a layer 1 to launch layer 1s. We are therefore base infrastructure for blockchain. We are also a platform. And what we're trying to do is very new, but also not, because we are part of technology cycles that have happened many, many times before. So let's take a trip down memory lane. And let's think about what it used to take to host a website. So nowadays, people don't even think about it because cloud services are just so commoditized and readily available that anybody can host a website. But it used to be the case that if you had a web page and it got any sort of appreciable traffic, you were going to have to stand up your own servers or your server farms if you were Netflix or Amazon. Nowadays, that's just not necessary anymore. Cloud services have crossed the chasm successfully in order to bring web developers base infrastructure that is reliable and completely scalable for their needs. So the base infrastructure problem has been solved before. Now let's talk about platforms. So it also used to be the case that if you had an application, then you were going to have to get customized hardware for it. So this is way back in the day, but if you had a music application, for instance, you might need to explore the Walkman, or you need to explore personal data assistance. I mean, this is very old technology because we don't remember a time anymore where applications had to have specific hardware for their uses. Now everybody lives on their phones. So the smartphone really crossed the chasm for those that were building applications for a specific use case. And now hardware has been completely scaled. It is no longer a problem that app developers have to deal with. So it's crossed the chasm there. So we've seen platform disruptions before, and that is also what Saga is. So this is currently what's necessary to build a chain. All these components are things that a Web3 developer, doesn't matter what kind of application you're building, has to deal with in order to successfully build on chain. And what Saga has done is we have taken all of these components and we have simplified it into this web app. Literally, all you have to do is take 5 seconds to fill out this form in order to launch your own chain. All right? So it is a chain that is permissionless, it's high performance, it's automated deployment, costless transactions, automatically interoperable, and fully decentralized. So every single chain that is launched on Saga is a fully decentralized proof of stake chain. This is incredibly powerful technology. Let's go into it a little more deeply. So this is the Saga Mainnet, obviously abstracted, but the Saga Mainnet is itself a fully decentralized chain. And what a developer does is it first requests their own chain. So a lot of people ask, like, what does that mean, having your own chain? Because it's a concept that not a lot of people are used to. It means having your own Ethereum. It means having your own Solana. And you can have as many of these as you like on Saga. So developer requests a chainlet, and at that point, what our system does is it replicates our mainnet, okay? So our mainnet is a fully decentralized chain with a bunch of validators. We replicate that validator set as well as a security model. And so it's an incredibly secure and scalable chain out of the box. Now, I said that you can have as many of these as you like. So you start deploying your smart contracts onto these chainlets, right? But then, as is the case with games, they need a lot of scale. They need a lot of computing power. So you realize you need more of these. You can stand up as many of these as you like. And because all of our chainlets speak to one another, they are all automatically interoperable shards. Okay? That's our system. That's our system. Now, how is it doing so far? So Testnet, for us, our Pegasus incentivized testnet, ran for a couple months. And we ended up with about 208 chains. These are 208 full chains on Saga, about 59 million transactions, and 14.5 million wallets. It is a very powerful, healthy chain. And I do want to thank our entire community for helping us to test out the system before we hit mainnet. But as you guys can see, what you have to look forward to is an incredibly powerful network. Now, in terms of scalability, this is something that probably every game cares about the most. We are averaging about 6.8 million transactions per day per chainlet. When you start to aggregate across all the chainlets on Saga, and you can have as many of these as you like, it is a very, very high number. We consistently beat out Ethereum in terms of the number of transactions per day, although what I've heard is that that's not hard to do. No hate to ETH people here, we love you. So who uses this? It's really for developers, but also for other layer ones. So we help other layer ones scale out as well, and it's for new and established projects. So let's go through a few sample flows so you get an idea of how you build on Saga. So if you're a developer, it's probably the most straightforward example of all. You're deploying your smart contracts onto our chain. The most important thing to remember here is that it is costless on the front end. We do not charge a gas fee to the end user, and that has always been the case. We think it is a shitty user experience. It is even shittier for the developer that they have to bake it into their business model. So we do not charge a gas fee to the end user. It is entirely up to the developer to determine how they monetize with their users, okay? What the developer does do is they pay in Saga tokens to the validators to keep their chains alive. And then the validators get those fees as well as any sort of inflation. And that's how our system works. All right, pretty straightforward for a developer. Now, if you are a layer one, how is it that we work with you? This is where our economics become really vital, because from the perspective of a layer one, they gotta protect their token. And for the layer ones out there that have successfully built their own ecosystems, obviously they don't want to give those brand relationships over to some like stranger L1 out there. They want to keep that relationship with the development team. Totally reasonable. So it's important that the gas token for that layer one remain the gas token for that system. So they continue to accrue value on the token for that particular layer one, but they are now opening up additional block space on the back end, okay? So the developer continues to deploy contracts onto that partner network, but the partner network is now ordering chainlets from Saga. And we stand up chainlets on behalf of that network, but from the perspective of the developer, they're continuing to deploy smart contracts onto that partner network. They're none the wiser. All right, so we are scaling out layer ones as well. All right, so what are some use cases that are completely unique to Saga? You can't do this anywhere else in Web3. So the first one is probably the most important one for game developers. It is fast bridging. So why is fast bridging significant? Because I would say, unlike DeFi, game developers, creators, storytellers, we believe that any IP we create belongs to us. That is the whole reason why we are in this space. And therefore, you want freedom of movement of that IP across ecosystems. You also want the liquidity. But the reason why we're able to do fast bridging is everything on Saga is a fully decentralized proof-of-stake chain, which means that you get to fast finality of all your transactions on Saga. You originate assets here, it settles immediately, which means the bridges open up immediately, and then you can then bridge the assets out to the other chains, okay? It's a very vibrant, interoperable ecosystem. Once you originate it on Saga, or if you manage it on Saga, then you're able to get it out to other chains. The second thing is recycled gas tokens. So this is a pro tip for all the developers out there who are developing games. You can make your system gasless. We hear that term a lot now. You can make it gasless, but it's still blockchain. You need gas to operate it. So if you set it to 0, you open yourself up to DDoS attacks. So we don't recommend you set it to 0, but you can use recycled gas tokens from us. This is what we call sort of protocol native account abstraction. This is what allows you to keep your user transactions entirely free. but not have to assign a token to it. So how it works is, the analogy I like to use is kind of like going to an arcade. You get a bag of coins to play the games, right? And then at the end of the day, once you're done playing all the games, the tokens just get recycled into the system. So that's how our system works, with recycled gas tokens on the front end. And then finally, horizontally sharded apps and games. This needs no explanation. I think everyone here dreams about a game that is big enough to support an entire world of different shards and instances. Again, they all speak to one another on Saga, and therefore you're able to architect this game out in a very, very seamless way. All right, so these are some of the things that are unique to the Saga protocol. You cannot do it on any other chain out there. And let's move on to the other layer ones that we support. So I mentioned that what we do is we automate dedicated block space for other layer ones. That includes Polygon CDK chains, it includes Avalanche subnets, it includes Celestia rollups. Ethlets are a product that's native to us, actually. So ethlets are chainlets, but they roll up to Ethereum. There are some developers out there that care about this because they want things to ultimately settle on Ethereum. That's fine, we can roll up to Ethereum, no problem. But that's what an ethlet is. We also work with Netmarble and their chain, which is MarbleX, and then come to us and Expla, which is their Web3 chain. And there we are allowing them to shard games onto Saga. So anytime that there is excess traffic on the chain, there's congestion, they're able to shard those games onto the Saga protocol. All right? Awesome. So this slide, over the last couple of years, used to be a much more focal point of attention because there was so much more to come in the roadmap. But I already let the cat out of the bag. Mainnet is coming soon. I think that's what everybody is focused on. Pegasus incentivized testnet is going to be closed soon. For all of our innovators in the crowd, early warning that you probably want to get your data off of there because we're going to head to Mainnet. All right? So that is the product. It is an incredibly powerful product. And you're probably wondering, well, we're here at GDC. Obviously, Saga is heavily focused on gaming and entertainment. What do you actually build with it? Well, at Saga, we take the attitude that our eyes have not yet seen, nor our ears heard, nor our minds imagined what we can build together. So let's go back into Eve's world, and let's explore the Saga Multiverse. So I just told you about the product. Let's explore the ecosystem and our multiverse. So this is not a strange storyline to anybody here. UGC is the future of gaming. UGC is why gaming has grown to what it is in the entertainment world. It is because we give the ability to gamers and creators to mod games, to add to the universes of games, to really create a very vibrant and respected fan base that makes it back into canon very easily, that this industry has grown. So UGC really is the future. And again, this is why gaming is eating media and entertainment, because it allows for that sort of user, gamer, creator engagement and participation. And we fully believe that the future of gaming and entertainment is in the decentralized generation and control of content. All right, so from the beginning, Saga has really rallied traditional and Web3 gaming behind the multiverse. It is an ecosystem where creators, storytellers, developers freely collaborate and contribute to each other's intellectual property and their universes. And we have grasped and we continue to spearhead what we feel is the greatest contribution of Web3 to the wider cultural zeitgeist, which is the celebration of freedom and the exploration of creative expression together. Okay. All right, so the world has changed a lot since the last time we visited this topic at Gamescom last year in August. So back then, we introduced the generative multiverse, and this was an acknowledgement of the fact that AI was factoring in a lot more into the content generation for anyone who was building on Saga. Back then, we had 6 projects that were doing this in an active way. So either they were coming up with AI tools of their own, or they were projects that significantly used AI in order to generate content. Now, everybody that is building on Saga uses AI extensively in their creative process. And what that is indicative of is not just the fact that AI tools have gotten so much better in such a short amount of time, but also that they are really essential now to the creative process of everyone who built on Saga. They are also really essential to just the need for self-expression for anyone who is part of the Saga ecosystem. And what we realize is that for most of our community and for most of the creators here, AI is really no less than an extension of themselves. It is a way in which they manifest their world and how they imagine it into reality, which is really profound and fulfilling to be a part of. And so it's no surprise that the open world is the sort of game that thrives the most on the Saga ecosystem, okay? So it is really lore that is infinitely extendable, and the gamers and creators are really generating these AI assets at massive scale. And what we've come to know is that AI may give you the means to become your real self, but it's really crypto that gives you the freedom. That is really what has motivated us over the last few months. And our role here at Saga is to make sure that the AI agents and assets are able to communicate with one another and transact with one another in a verifiable and decentralized manner on chain. Right? So we currently have about 340 projects that are building in the Saga Multiverse. That number is already quite high, but it's going to explode once we go live. And that is because it's not just going to be individual teams anymore that are building on Saga. It's going to be individuals. It's going to be gamers and creators that now have both the means and the freedom to create just as they like in their own block space in the multiverse. They are in gaming. Obviously, 80% of our ecosystem is gaming. They are in NFTs and entertainment. They are in DeFi and social. After all, this is still a general purpose layer one. And of course, they are our fellow infrastructure projects. Okay. So we have become quite known for ecosystem and developer support. It's very extensive here at Saga. We take it very seriously. All of our innovators here know that we are really at their beck and call. Now, the developer really is a superhero at Saga, and we obsess about their needs. And what they've been telling us over the last few months is, now that we have the infrastructure problem more or less solved, we want to get to distribution. Distribution is what keeps us awake at night. How is it that we get more users? How is it that we get our game to more players? And we have always been of the mind that it is not the responsibility of the game to bring users to the chain. The chain is the platform. And so the chain is the one who should be bringing users to the games. And it is in that spirit that I'm thrilled to announce to all of you today our publishing house. This is the first time that a Web3 Layer 1 protocol is opening up a game publisher. It will be called Saga Origins. Saga Origins is a space for the crazies to dream their craziest dreams and feel loved and supported. We are looking for games that are provocative, expansive, and uncompromising. This is Web3. We are meant to push the envelope, and we will publish the games that big studios will not touch. What we have seen in Web3 so far is that most games tend to be E for everyone. I'm not saying that a little toddler should spend their time playing first-person shooter games, but they could if they wanted to. We want the M games. We want the M games. We want to develop them. We want to bring them to market. And whatever your vision is, if you see your game in these words, we want to work with you. So let's talk about how exactly publishing is done in Web3. It's very different, the way in which we acquire and retain users over time. So first off, you have completely different dynamics that you're working with. The first of which is that you are doing cross-ecosystem communities. So most of the time when you are part of a guild in traditional gaming, you're part of that guild. Here, you are able to be a part of guilds across multiple ecosystems, and there are many interesting things that we can do with that. Secondly, of course, the player incentives are different. This is crypto at the end of the day. And so play to airdrop is a really powerful mechanism that we at Saga invented, and I think we will continue to refine over time. And of course, there will also be the aspect of asset liquidity. And then finally, the influencer crowd is a little different. So in traditional gaming, you have your cabal of streamers and content creators that really bring the game to market. Here in Web3, you have obviously a similar idea, but everyone is really familiar with the mechanics and the dynamics of the Web3 ecosystem. And so with these different components, we're able to successfully build a Web3 publishing house. Now, let's talk about how we exactly break this down for the game. So first off, we want to create game awareness. This is the first time that the market gets to know about your game. It is the first time that you really establish your voice and your brand in the minds of gamers. And then we start to acquire your users, and then we start to make them sticky and really build the foundations of this community. All right, so let's go into each one in a little bit more detail. All of this is going to be in our website as well, so you don't have to remember all of this now. But just so you know, this is what a Web3 game publisher looks like. It's something that we've thought a lot about before launching this, and we've already started to put it into practice. So this is incredibly exciting. So step one, create game awareness. We do have an incredible portfolio of influencers that we primarily work with. They are chosen based on obviously their follower reach, but also how do people engage with them? How diverse is their community? How are they able to acquire users for you going forward? For more traditional gaming, we do work with William Morris Endeavor, probably one of the biggest agencies in the world, in order to make sure that Web 2 does not continue to hate the fuck out of this space. I think a lot of minds will be changed once they see the kinds of games that are coming out of Saga Origins. All right, so let's go to step two, which is the way in which we acquire users. So user acquisition is everything for a game. This is how a game succeeds. It is how a game ultimately scales and grows and has staying power. With the play to airdrop campaign, this is something that we invented a few months ago. So play to airdrop is a very simple mechanism. You play the games and the leaderboards are eligible for airdrops of Saga tokens. Now obviously we were in the catbird position because we're about to launch, and therefore we have a massive Genesis drop that's about to happen. Huge treasury of tokens that can be given to play to airdrop campaigns, but I think this will continue for us going forward. The first time we did this was for Saga Advent, and we already had 3,000 unique players and wallets participate in that. For the 25 days of Christmas, every single day we had a tournament, and that was the turnout. It was awesome. Play to Airdrop Season 2 was a Three Kingdoms named after our technology partners. So named after Avalanche, Polygon, and Solana, who are our main gaming partners. And there were 40,000 unique players and wallets off of that. So already significant growth. There were about $100,000 worth of giveaways. People get excited when they're part of a play to airdrop campaign. And so in addition to us doing airdrops, usually the games will do airdrops as well, and the partner chain. So sometimes our players were lucky enough to get triple airdrops. Very powerful user acquisition engine, but it takes a lot of distribution coordination to pull off well. Our guild partners, so we have 10 guild partners so far. We're looking for more, obviously, but this is the way that we get penetration to all the relevant user bases in crypto. NFT marketplaces, this is a big one. It's a big one because the way that most publishers make money is they do revenue split with you. And that is based off of earnings for the game from the game launchers. And most of the times the games have to move their games onto the accounts of the game launchers for the publishers in order for that revenue split to take place. So for us, luckily in Web3, we are all about cutting out the middleman. So our platforms where we sell these assets currently do not take such a significant cut as Steam or Epic Games. So we sell direct to the consumer through our NFT marketplaces. We have storefronts at Saga, but we know that all of our games will want storefronts of their own across all of the major NFT marketplaces. All of that can be arranged. The point is that you can go direct to consumer. You don't have to go through a third-party platform that charges you that 30%. All right, so last part is community building. So once you get a great user base into the game, they're excited, they're engaging with the game, how do you keep them around for a very long time? So that's where Web3 is uniquely positioned to do the meta game. So how can you do a game on top of the game on top of the game? So this is where the users start to create content, right? They start to make the game a part of their social life. They start to add that UGC. Maybe some of them get so involved as to mod the game, but this is how you get that sticky engagement. It prolongs the life of the game. You do get to grow exponentially. For all of those who are trying to look at the Fortnite and Roblox models, this is exactly how they grow, is that meta game. And that is the end game for us. That is the last piece that we help you with as a publisher after all the hard work is said and done. All right, so for those of you who are looking for more information about our publishing house, this QR code is going to lead you to our website about the publishing house, about Saga Origins. And if you have a game that is provocative, expansive, and uncompromising, we want to hear from you. We are looking for titles. We already have a couple of titles signed. They're headed to alpha over the course of the next few months, so you'll get to know them soon. But any new games out there, we're always interested in great content. And with that, really the last thing to do for the Saga Multiverse is to go live. And I know that all of you here are looking forward to seeing our Mainnet launch trailer. And that's the first look that you get for what the Saga Multiverse will look like. So with that, I'm going to step aside and let you guys see what it's all about.
Surely shall see the sunshine. We surely shall see the sunshine. We surely shall see the sunshine. We surely shall see the sunshine.
He thrusts his fist against the posts and still insists he sees the ghost. He thrusts his fist against the posts and still insists he sees the ghost.
The boat told, the stone cold and poked and coaxed the sword. The boat told, the stone
He thrusts his fists against the posts.
We surely shall see the sunshine. The sun lit the way out as we soared to new heights. New technologies led us to the farthest reaches of our imaginations.
We built new worlds on the precipice of history.
We weren't alone.
The enemy horde closed in.
It is clear we are not ready for what is to come.
No, we
Are
Learn how to act as a team, how to fight.
we pushed back?
fought tooth and nail.
And in the end, the light won.
No matter where you stand in the cosmos,
You can see the entire
Entire universe.
For the crazies who dare to dream their craziest dreams. Saga.
So I am going to end today the way I began, which is our eyes have not yet seen, nor our ears heard, nor our minds imagined what it is we can build together. Well, we at Saga have seen it, our innovators live it, and we are ready to shock the world again. And if you get real loud, they will hear you all the way in Moscone Center that Web3 has arrived. Web3 gaming is here, it is real, it is here to shock the world. I want to thank all of our creators, our storytellers, our developers, and Saganauts everywhere. Thank you for a truly incredible journey over the last 2 years, and let's keep it going. Thanks so much, guys.